Hi, everybody. My name is Esther Yang, and I'm really very grateful to have Dave Rosenberg with us. He has the movie coming out called The Reunion, and it's going to be showing in Nyack, which is like an hour and a half from New York City. I am going to go. Jonathan's going to go, and a couple of my teams are going to go, and they have partnered up with us. It's August 18 at Nyack, and you can check it out at the Reunion Film, and David's going to tell all the website link and everything else. But welcome to Esther Yang and friends, and I'm looking forward to it. This is about, we're going to talk about how childhood bullying affects adulthood. Dave, what makes you want to make this movie?
Well, thank you so much for having me on. When I was a kid, I had a group of friends in Long Island and New York when I was in elementary school, and we were really close. They were my buds, and between 6th and 7th grade, I went to sleepaway camp, and when I came back, none of them would talk to me, and I didn't know why. And first day of junior high, I got off the bus and walked to this long line by the middle school, and one of my friends stepped out and knocked my books out of my hands. Another one stepped out and said, "We don't want to be friends with you anymore." And I just remember taking this long, sad walk to the back of the line, and for the rest of the year, I got bullied. They called my house, said things about me, about my family. There was some physical stuff. It was torture.
And you had no idea why they behave like idiots?
No, and I wasn't the only one this happened to. Kids kind of do that, turn on one person, make one person the scapegoat, and that sort of thing. They called it getting dissed.
Yeah.
I actually wrote another screenplay called Dissed.
I'm looking forward to seeing that movie.
But I don't know. It could have been over a girl. It could have been that there were things that I did that upset people, but they may not have known how to communicate it. But it happened, and then about 12 years later, I was in Union Square, and I ran into the guy who I felt had kind of spearheaded this, and it just freaked me out. So I told two of my buddies, Andrea and Din, who were my actor friends, who are in the movie. And Din said, "You have to write about this." And Andrea said, "You have to confront this guy." So I kind of set about doing both, and the three of us were creating this story. And then Andrea was kind of preparing me to confront this guy, which I eventually did. What's that?
I said, "Wow."
Yeah.
Super wow.
I actually did, and he actually apologized, and we actually had a nice talk, and we're Facebook friends now. But we went on to make the movie like 15 years later. It was a very long process. So we made the movie in the last 3 years, and now we're in festivals and about to sign a distribution deal.
Wow. I wish you the luck with the distribution deal.
Thank you.
Even the process, it took you 15 years to make this movie?
Took 20.
Wow.
I mean, really, we worked on it for about 8 years. We worked on the script for about 5, and then we did a reading. And so that process took about 8 years. That was when I was in my 20s, about 20 years ago. And then we split up because we couldn't raise the money. We got into a fight. We just didn't know what we were doing, And then for 10 years, I went to LA. I became a middle school teacher. Andrea, had a family. Din was acting in New York City. And 10 years later, I kind of started having signs and intuitions that it was time to make this. My grandmother passed, so I came into some money. I had 2 students 2 years in a row, 2 female students who said, "Mister, why are you here? Why are you not like acting or out on some red carpet somewhere?" Because I was always talking about how I was going to make this movie and I'm an actor, and they basically confronted me and they were like, "You talking about follow your dreams, but you're not doing it." And I woke up at like 4 a.m. one morning, and I was like, it's got to happen right now. I grabbed a piece of paper and I wrote down some steps that I needed to take. Went back to New York, met with my friends. We had an amazing weekend, creating again, talking about doing the movie, and the rest is history.
Oh, and you guys are not fighting anymore. I mean, that was interesting. How did you even? And that itself is the reunion, right?
Right. That's true.
You guys were like friends.
That's true.
You got into a fight. I mean, in your adult life, it's almost like history repeating itself. And
and that happened all throughout the process. I mean, life was really imitating art. There was a lot of conflict. There was a lot of, what we were trying to tackle in this movie was basically, how do you confront somebody when you have all this fear and you have all this anger without being violent or without running away? How do you confront any situation without fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
That's really what we were exploring. And so that came up tons of times throughout this process. Some of the friendships have gotten repaired, some of them have not. You know what I mean? And that's just the hard truth. You make a film with friends and it's beautiful because you're all passionate about it. And when we were acting, it was kind of easy because we were friends. The hard part of that is you're working in business with your friends, and egos come up, and money comes up, and credit comes up, and how is this movie going to look comes up. And that part was really challenging.
So did Andrea and obviously you are in this movie?
Yeah, Andrea, yeah.
Yeah. Did Andrea and you, the three of you, that are back into this movie? And then it's hard. Like, I think when you open up your emotions about bullying, and unconsciously, in my opinion, that also surfaces up for them and the people in it, because the emotions are in the way, and some people just either can do it or cannot do it. I mean, I envy you for being able to do it, because I barely make it with my own drama in my real life situation, and that's really, really hard. So, tell me, it's going to be in Nyack, right? And how do people see this movie, the trailer? I know the trailer is just thereunion.com.
Yeah, thereunionfilm.com.
Okay,
Yeah, so if you go to thereunionfilm.com, everything is there, including information about Super Happy Healthy Kids, which is on our resources page. But we're on Facebook at The Reunion Film. We're on Instagram at the.reunion.film.nyc. We're on Twitter at thereunionfilm.nyc. But you don't have to worry about any of that, because if you go to our website, thereunionfilm.com, that leads you to all our social media. That leads us to information about Nyack, which is, in fact, Wednesday, August 18th, 9:45 p.m. If you're in New York, please come. There's still tickets. We're starting to get close to selling out, I think. So get your tickets. But this film looks amazing on the big screen. See it on the big screen.
No, I always see it on the big screen because a lot of my friends are artists, and people, that's why I would never buy pirate film or things like that, because I just think like this is my way of supporting my friends. I don't have a TV. I don't know if you know that, but some of my viewers, I don't have a TV. So I go to movies all the time. So I am looking forward to going to the Nyack. And I just want to tell people that you don't have to go to 9:45. We actually plan to go early and enjoy the trip at the Nyack, because Nyack is really beautiful. So we plan to have dinner there and then go to the movie. So you can, for people that can do it, you can actually go to the Nyack and have like a mini little vacations. We have to still work, so we're going to be working in Nyack, and bring our computer. And this is in one hand, it's like the pandemic is bad, but in the other hand, we like it really tests our ability to work things remotely. So we're going to bring our work at Nyack, and then have dinner, and then go to the movies, and looking forward to it. And what is it? I mean, you grew up in California, or you grew up in New York?
In New York, in Long Island.
Okay. And then your family's still in Long Island?
Pretty much, yeah. Mom goes down to Florida a bit, but yeah, she's still got a house in Long Island. Dad's in Nyack. My dad's in Nyack, which is really exciting for him.
Oh, I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Yeah. Sisters are in New York. So yeah.
So they're all coming to Nyack then?
Dad is coming, sister might come. Not sure if mom and the other sister will come. Okay. But they've seen it before. They were at the New York City premiere.
Oh, I'm sure, because it's I'm sure they still remember during that time too. I'm sure it was a hard time for you.
Yeah, it's hard for my mom to watch it. She still feels some guilt about it, that she could have done something and she really couldn't have. But that's
what do you think? Like, what do you think? Like, I was born in Jakarta, and I went to school in Singapore, and I came here, and I was bullied. Like, the joke is, now I can think of it as a joke. The joke is like, they bullied me in 3 different languages, in 3 different countries, in 3 different schools. But what is your advice? I mean, now you're a middle school teacher. I mean, what is your advice for parents to deal with, like, when your kids are being bullied?
Yeah, Esther, that's a hard one. I hear some people say, if somebody's bullying you, just punch them in the face. I mean, seriously, and because I'm trying to be truthful, you know what I mean? I don't want to BS, you know what I mean? Because I've heard people say, when I punched him in the face, that was it was over. So part of me wishes I would have done that, to be totally honest with you. What I wish I would have done, though, if I didn't go that route, is like, honestly, do martial arts. like you do, like I did in my 20s. Because what I found by doing martial arts, or self-defense, is that I didn't need to fight. You know what I mean? I knew inside of myself that I could take care of myself, and there was a confidence that I had that would not lead me to being bullied. I think being bullied, sometimes can be a challenge, a bit of a rite of passage. And the thing that was unfortunate for me is I just didn't know where to go. I just didn't know who to go to. My mom did the best she could, but I think my mom was really scared. My dad wasn't around. My stepdad and I didn't get along. So I think, I would tell a kid, find people to talk to.
Right.
Find a team of people so you're not doing it alone. And the thing with kids, particularly in middle school, is they keep everything in. They keep everything. I had a girl, a student, who said to me, "Mister, nobody likes me and I'm not popular." And I was like, that is so not true. Like, I see you in class. Like, so like the way that middle school kids see the world, is very different oftentimes than what the reality is. So I say, find your team. Do things that you really enjoy. I think I just kind of went into a cocoon and was like, I'm just going to avoid this and hide from this because I was terrified. I hid out in the library during lunch. When I got home, I went to sleep. I just wanted to avoid.
Yeah.
I say find something you love, whether that's a sport or acting. I wish I would have had acting. I wish I would have had a theater club back then like I teach right now, or a film class like I teach right now. Find some way to put that energy, into something.
I think as parents it's difficult though, because my daughter was the best child up to 11, and then starting 12 to like 17, it's like a nightmare. I'm living like in a nightmare. I think it was very difficult, and I would like shook her shoulders. I said, "What did you do to my child?" Because she was so like I think because of the hormones and everything else, like constantly changing. I think it's really, really hard. But I do recommend, even for super happy healthy kids, like we do martial arts, once a week, no matter what. They don't have a choice. And so, I think parents do need, like you said, because I think, what do you do when you don't, when your kids don't want to talk to you? And I think even though they're bullying, but they don't want to share things, right? I think the girl was, like very fortunate to have you where she can share things, right? But not all kids want to share things. I know with my daughter, she doesn't want to share. She wants to just stay in her room, do anything. I think I was saving Grace. Her name is Grace, actually. I was saving Grace. We're not allowed to have, I don't allow her to have phone or computer in her room. So that means she just got to be stuck. So she has to go outside and then being able to talk. And that was really hard. So what I recommend to parents, from my experience with super happy healthy kids, is that for you to really kind of gently force them to go to martial arts and really being active, whether you're doing soccer or you're doing baseball, and maybe put them in a different set of group of friends, like what you did, right? Because when you're stuck with the summer camp and then they're coming back to middle school, I think you need to set up of friends. So I think that's what I recommend to parents. But teenagers, they don't talk. I mean, or with you, in your case, they have your as you. So as a middle school teacher, that must be kind of challenging too, because you become like their therapist, their friends, their teacher. I mean, how is that for you?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, obviously coming from being bullied and that being the hardest time of my life in middle school, I mean, I really try to make sure no bullying in my classroom. I mean, if I see it, we talk about it, we deal with it. I try to talk to kids. I take them outside and talk to them one-on-one. And, I came up with a phrase, a mantra for myself my first couple of years of teaching, because it was so difficult. And I was always stressed out, always in fight or flight, always scared, didn't know what I was doing. Thought it was the kids. They say, as a comedian, don't blame the audience. As a teacher, don't blame the kids. It's not the kids. It's not the kids.
But that's your own spiritual awakening, though.
Yeah, so you have to learn tools and techniques. And for me, what I learned was, whenever I'm in fight or flight, my only job is to get out of fight or flight. Whenever I'm in fight or flight, my only job is to get out of fight or flight. Because if I react when I'm in fight or flight, and this applies to bullying, nothing good happens. You know what I mean? I used to think, I have to yell at the kids and get them in order because they're not in order. And it's like, no, I need to go sit down at my desk and compose myself.
Yeah.
And when I've breathed a little bit and I feel like I can handle the situation, then I can come back. And what just came to me now after 5 years of teaching is whenever a kid is in fight or flight, my only job is to help them to get out of fight or flight.
Right. And this is where the part where, like, you know, my mentor taught me too, that how your experience will benefit other people. Certainly the movie,
That's right.
the reunion film will definitely, so it's a reunionfilm.com, correct?
TheReunionFilm.com, and the trailer is there as well. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
I saw the trailers and I'm looking forward to like really watching it. And you know, so just in case you're just joining me, that this is Dave Rosenberg. He is the actor. You direct the movie too?
No, I acted in it, I wrote it, and I produced it. I wrote it with my friends.
So he acted a movie, which is, whoa, that's a wow already. He wrote it, and then he also, you're the executive producer too.
Yeah, producer, executive producer, writer, actor. Yeah, too many hats.
But it's good though. It's like, that's like show your artistic ability. So, you know,
Right.
this is Dave Rosenberg. So it's the film, the reunionfilm.com.
TheReunionFilm.com. Yeah.
So go visit the site, and he's going to be in Nyack. So definitely go there. Now, why did you move to California?
You know, when I was about 36 or 37, I was living in New York. Nothing was really happening for me. The acting thing had kind of passed. I was working a bunch of random jobs. I was lost. You know, my dog died. I had a year of depression, and I had always wanted to go to LA. Since I was a kid, I wanted to go to college at UCLA. Then when I became an actor, I wanted to come out here, but I wasn't ready. And I would come out periodically. And then I came out when I was 36 for a month, and I was like, yeah, it's time. You know, I can handle it. I have a good support system. I have a good foundation. I'm relatively healthy, you know, because California will eat you up, you know, just like New York. In a different way, it'll eat you up. So you need to have that foundation, and you need to know who you are. Otherwise, Los Angeles will tell you who you are.
Yeah. Well, that's in any city or anywhere else, you know, because if you don't know who you are, and I think like you said, like self-awareness, self-discovery, you know, spiritual awakening, and this is what makes you like want to make this film. And then you know, what a blessing your grandmother gave you, you know, that you can do this, and you know, like educating people what it's all about. So I know certainly Super Happy Healthy Kids very grateful to partner up with you about bullying, because our mission is always about bullying, you know, like how to not be bullied.
And I'm super grateful to you for that, because it was always my vision to link up with a charity and to hopefully at some point go out to schools and talk to kids. You know, my vision was to go out with the person who I felt bullied me, and the two of us go out and talk to people, and maybe at some point that'll happen. But I'm really, really grateful that we were able to pair up with you, because, you know, doing a movie is a great thing, but there's a lot of ego involved.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of self involved, and me, and I'm doing podcasts and radio and all these things and distribution and all that stuff, and I get caught up in that, you know, just like anybody else. And so to be able to be of service, and make this about not me, make this about something bigger than me, make this about helping people is very grounding in the way that teaching has been grounding for me.
Yeah. So school is closed, so when school is open in September, I'm looking forward to having you, because our schools start late because of the pandemic, so our school opens September 13th. But once school is over, definitely, you know, come and speak. But in the meantime, you know, because our mailing list includes our parents anyway, so this tape is going to be processed in podcasts, in Spotify, and also in YouTube, and then my parents will watch it, and also our students will be able to watch it, because we're the after school program. So as before we end, by the way, you can click and subscribe for Esther Yang in the YouTube. What you before we end, like anything else that you want to tell us, and anything else that you want to share about us, or to share about you that we don't know?
You know, I would just say, you know, we're in a very difficult time with the pandemic and everything, and I just hope that it's an opportunity for healing. You know, we've seen a lot of conflict in our country in the last year or two. There's a lot of strife. There's a lot of
death.
You know, I want this. I want this, and a lot of death, and I just hope that people take an opportunity to heal. You know, chill out with the technology for a little bit. You know, go outside, go for a walk. You know, nature is calling to us.
Yeah,
nature is calling to us to take care of it, because you know we forget all about, you know, what's going on with the planet and global warming and everything. And so anyway, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but just I hope everybody can just try to heal. Let's have this be an opportunity to heal. I hope this movie can do that.
Yeah, and I think if you take care of yourself, right, and then I think it's like dominoes effect, then you'll take care of other things. But I'm glad you brought about the climate. We actually next week we're going to have a 13-year-old kid, Theo, is going to talk about climate change.
Nice.
And I want to be able to see from the next generations and how they do it.
I love it.
So I'm looking forward for that. But talking about the green, so you don't have to go to Nyack and leaving New York City at 7:45. You can go to Nyack earlier, like us, and then and just enjoy the different scenery, and because we're certainly looking forward to it, and then do that. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Happy, I know you have to teach, so happy teaching. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Hi,
everybody. All right, I'm Esther Yang. If you'd like to see more content, if you want to watch more videos, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and then don't forget to click that bell button. Bye.